Now read this. Hello, and welcome back to Now Read This, the story of King Arthur and his knights. Chapter 2nd. How Sir Pelleas overcame a red knight, hight Sir Adrasack, and of how he liberated 22 captives from that knight's castle. Now after that wonderful happening, they journeyed continuously for a great while, nor did they pause at any place until they came, about an hour after the prime of the day, to a certain part of the forest where charcoal burners were plying their trade. Here Sir Pelleas commanded that they should draw rein and rest for a while, and so they dismounted for to rest and to refresh themselves, as he had ordained that they should do. Now as they sat there refreshing themselves with meat and drink, there came of a sudden from out of the forest a sound of great lamentation and of loud outcry, and almost immediately there appeared from the thickets, coming into that open place, a lady in woeful array, riding upon a pied palfrey, and behind her rode a young esquire, clad in colours of green and white, and seated upon a sorrel horse. And he also appeared to be possessed of great sorrow, being in much disarray, and very downcast of countenance. And the lady's face was all beswollen and inflamed with weeping, and her hair hung down upon her shoulders with neither net nor band for to stay it in place, and her raiment was greatly torn by the brambles and much stained with forest travel. And the young esquire who rode behind her came with a drooping head and a like woeful disarray of apparel, his cloak dragging behind him and made fast to his shoulder by only a single point. Now when Sir Pelleas beheld the lady and the esquire in such sad estate, he immediately rose from where he sat, and went straightway to the lady, and took her horse by the bridle, and stayed it where it was. And the lady looked at him, yet saw him not, being altogether blinded by her grief and distraction. Then Sir Pelleas said to her, "Lady, what ails thee that thou sorrowest so greatly?" Whereunto she made reply,
"Sir, it matters not, for thou canst not help me."
"How know ye that?" said Sir Pelleas. "I have a very good intention for to aid thee, if it be possible for me to do so." Then the lady looked more narrowly at Sir Pelleas, and she perceived him as though through a mist of sorrow, and she beheld that he was not clad in armour, but only in a holiday attire of fine crimson cloth. Wherefore she began sorrowing afresh, and that in great measure, for she deemed that here was one who could give her no aid in her trouble. Wherefore she said,
"Sir, thy intentions are kind, but how canst thou look to give me aid when thou hast neither arms nor defences for to help thee in taking upon thee such a quarrel?"
But Sir Pelleas said, "Lady, I know not how I may aid thee until thou tellest me of thy sorrow, yet I have good hope that I may serve thee when I shall know what it is that causes thee such disorder of mind." Thereupon, still holding the horse by the bridle, he brought the lady forward to that place where Parsenat still sat beside the napkin spread with food, with which they had been refreshing themselves. And when he had come to that place, he, with all gentleness, constrained the lady for to dismount from her horse. Then, with equal gentleness, he compelled her to sit down upon the grass and to partake of the food. And when she had done so, and had drunk some of the wine, she found herself to be greatly refreshed, and began to take to herself more heart of grace. Thereupon, beholding her so far recovered, Sir Pelleas again demanded of her what was her trouble, and besought her that she would open her heart unto him. So being encouraged by his cheerful words, she told to Sir Pelleas the trouble that had brought her to that pass.
"Sir Knight," she said, "the place where I dwell is a considerable distance from this. Thence I came this morning with a very good knight, hight Sir Brandemere, who is my husband. We have been married for a little over 4 weeks, so that our happiness until this morning was as yet altogether fresh with us. Now this morning Sir Brandemere would take me out a-hunting at the break of day, and so we went forth with a brachet of which my knight was wonderfully fond. So coming to a certain place in the forest, there started up of a sudden from behind us a doe, which same the brachet immediately pursued with great vehemence of outcry. Thereupon I and my lord and this esquire followed thereafter with very great spirit and enjoyment of the chase. Now when we had followed the doe, and the hound for a great distance, the hound pursuing the doe with a great passion of eagerness, we came to a certain place where we beheld before us a violent stream of water, which was crossed by a long and narrow bridge. And we beheld that upon the other side of the stream there stood a strong castle with 7 towers, and that the castle was built up upon the rocks in such a way that the rocks and the castle appeared to be altogether like one rock. Now, as we approached the bridge aforesaid, lo! The portcullis of the castle was lifted up, and the drawbridge was let fall very suddenly, and with a great noise, and there immediately issued forth from out of the castle a knight clad altogether in red, and all the trappings and the furniture of his horse were likewise of red, and the spear which he bore in his hand was of ash wood, painted red. And he came forth very terribly, and rode forward so that he presently stood at the other end of that narrow bridge. Thereupon he called out aloud to Sir Brandemere, my husband, saying, Whither wouldst thou go, Sir Knight? And unto him Sir Brandemere made reply, Sir, I would cross this bridge, for my hound, which I love exceedingly, hath crossed here in pursuit of a doe. Then that Red Knight cried out in a loud voice, Sir Knight, thou comest not upon this bridge, but at thy peril. For this bridge belongeth unto me, and whosoever would cross it must first overthrow me, or else he may not cross. Now my husband Sir Brandemere was clad at that time only in a light raiment, such as one might wear for hunting or for hawking, only that he wore upon his head a light bassinet enwrapped with a scarf which I had given him. Nevertheless, he was so great of heart that he would not abide any challenge such as that Red Knight had given unto him. Wherefore, bidding me and this esquire, whose name is Ponteferet, to remain upon the farther side of the bridge, he drew his sword and rode forward to the middle of the bridge with intent to force a way across if he was able so to do. Whereupon, seeing that to be his intent, that Red Knight, clad all in complete armour, cast aside his spear, and drew his sword, and rode forward to meet my knight. So they met in the middle of the bridge, and when they had thus met, that Red Knight lifted himself in his stirrup, and smote my husband Sir Brandemere upon the crown of his bassinet with his sword. And I beheld the blade of the Red Knight's sword that had cut through the bassinet of Sir Brandemere and deep into his brain-pan, so that the blood ran down upon the knight's face in great abundance. Then Sir Brandemere straightway fell down from his horse, and lay as though he were dead. Having thus overthrown him, that Red Knight dismounted from his horse, and lifted up Sir Brandemere upon the horse whence he had fallen, so that he lay across the saddle. Then taking both horses by the bridle, the Red Knight led them straight back across the bridge, and so into his castle. And as soon as he had entered into the castle, the portcullis thereof was immediately closed behind him, and the drawbridge was raised. Nor did he pay any heed whatever either to me or to the esquire Ponteferet, and he departed, leaving us without any word of cheer, nor do I know now whether my husband Sir Brandemere is living or dead, or what hath befallen him.
And as the lady spake these words, lo, the tears again fell down her face in great abundance. Then Sir Pelleas was very much moved with compassion, wherefore he said, Lady, thy case is, indeed, one of exceeding sorrowfulness, and I am greatly grieved for thee, and indeed I would fain aid thee to all the extent that is in my power. So, if thou wilt lead me to where is this bridge, and that grimly castle of which thou speakest, I make thee my vow that I will essay to the best of my endeavour to learn of the whereabouts of thy good knight, and as to what hath befallen him.
Sir, said the lady, I am much beholden unto thee for thy good will. Yet thou mayst not hope for success, shouldst thou venture to undertake so grave an adventure as that, without either arms or armour for to defend thyself. For consider how grievously that Red Knight hath served my husband Sir Brandemere, taking no consideration as to his lack of arms or defence. Wherefore, it is not likely that he will serve thee any more courteously.
And to the lady's words, Parcenet also lifted up a great voice, bidding Sir Pelleas not to be so unwise as to do this thing that he was minded to do. And so did Ponteferet, the esquire, also call out upon Sir Pelleas that he should not do this thing, but that he should at least take arms to himself ere he entered upon this adventure. But to all that they said, Sir Pelleas replied, "Stay me not in that which I would do, for I do tell thee that I have several times undertaken adventures even more perilous than this, and yet have I escaped with no great harm to myself." Nor would he listen to anything that the lady and the damsel might say, but arising from that place, he aided the lady and the damsel to mount their palfreys. Then mounting his own steed, and the esquire and the pages having mounted their steeds, the whole party immediately departed from that place. So they journeyed for a great distance through the forest, the esquire, Ponteferet, directing them how to proceed in such a way as should bring them by and by to the castle of the Red Knight. So at last they came to a more open place in that wilderness, where was a steep and naked hill before them. And when they had reached the top of that hill, they perceived beneath them a river, very turbulent and violent. Likewise they saw that that river was spanned by a bridge exceedingly straight and narrow, and that upon the farther side of that bridge and of the river there stood a very strong castle with 7 tall towers. Moreover, the castle and the towers were built up upon the rocks, very lofty and high, so that it was hard to tell where the rocks ceased and the walls began. Wherefore the towers and the walls appeared to be altogether one rock of stone. Then the esquire, Ponteferet, pointed with his finger and said, "Sir Knight, yonder is the castle of the Red Knight, and into it he bears Sir Brandemere, after he had been so grievously wounded." Then Sir Pelleas said unto the lady, "Lady, I will presently inquire as to thy husband's welfare." Therewith he set spurs to his horse, and rode down the hill toward the bridge with great boldness. And when he had come nigher to the bridge, lo, the portcullis of the castle was lifted, and the drawbridge was let fall with a great noise and tumult, and straightway there issued forth from out of the castle a knight clad all in armour and accoutrements of red. And this knight came forward with great speed toward the bridge's head. Then, when Sir Pelleas saw him approaching so threateningly, he said unto those who had followed him down the hill, "Stand fast where ye are, and I will go forth to bespeak this knight, and inquire into the matter of that injury which he hath done so unto Sir Brandemere." Upon this the esquire Ponteferet said unto him, "Stay, Sir Knight, thou wilt be hurt." But Sir Pelleas said, "Not so, I shall not be hurt." So he went forth very boldly upon the bridge, and when the Red Knight saw him approach, he said,
"Ha! Who art thou who darest to come thus upon my bridge?"
Unto him Sir Pelleas made reply, "It matters not who I am, but thou art to know, thou discourteous knight, that I am come to inquire of thee where thou hast disposed of that good knight Sir Brandemere, and to ask of thee why thou didst entreat him so grievously a short time since." At this the Red Knight fell very full of wrath.
"Aha!"
he cried vehemently.
"That thou shalt presently learn to thy great sorrow, for as I have served him, so shall I quickly serve thee, so that in a little while I shall bring thee unto him. Then thou mayst ask him whatsoever thou dost list. But seeing that thou art unarmed and without defence, I would not do thee any bodily ill. Wherefore I demand of thee that thou shalt presently surrender thyself unto me, and otherwise it will be very greatly to thy pain and sorrow if thou compellest me to use force for to constrain thy surrender."
Then Sir Pelleas said, What? Wouldst thou thus assail a knight who is altogether without arms or defence, as I am?" And the Red Knight said,
"Assuredly shall I do so, if thou dost not immediately yield thyself unto me."
"Then," quoth Pelleas, "thou art not fit for to be dealt with as beseemeth a tried knight.
Wherefore should I encounter thee? Thy overthrow must be of such a sort as may shame any belted knight who weareth golden spurs.
Thereupon he cast about his eyes for a weapon to fit his purpose, and he beheld how that a certain huge stone was loose upon the coping of the bridge. Now this stone was of such a size that 5 men of usual strength could hardly lift it. But Sir Pelleas lifted it forth from its place with great ease, and raising it with both hands, he ran quickly toward the Red Knight, and flung the rock at him with much force. And the stone smote the Red Knight upon the middle of the shield, and drave it back upon his breast with great violence. And the force of the blow drave the knight backward from his saddle, so that he fell down to the earth from his horse with a terrible tumult, and lay upon the bridgeway like one who was altogether dead. And when they within the castle who looked forth therefrom saw that blow, and when they beheld the overthrow of the Red Knight, they lifted up their voices in great lamentation, so that the outcry thereof was terrible to hear. But Sir Pelleas ran with all speed to the fallen knight, and set his knee upon his breast. And he unlaced his helmet, and lifted it, and he beheld that the face of the knight was strong and comely, and that he was not altogether dead. So when Sir Pelleas saw that the Red Knight was not dead, and when he perceived that he was about to recover his breath from the blow that he had suffered, he drew that knight's misericordia from its sheath, and set the point to his throat, so that when the Red Knight awoke from his swoon, he beheld death in the countenance of Sir Pelleas, and in the point of the dagger. So when the Red Knight perceived how near death was to him, he besought Sir Pelleas for mercy, saying,
Spare my life unto me.
Whereunto Sir Pelleas said, Who art thou? And the knight said,
I am hight Sir Adrasac, surnamed of the 7 Towers.
Then Sir Pelleas said to him, What hast thou done unto Sir Brandemere, and how doth it fare with that good knight? And the Red Knight replied,
He is not so seriously wounded as you suppose.
Now when Sir Brandemere's lady heard this speech, she was greatly exalted with joy, so that she smote her hands together, making great cry of thanksgiving. But Sir Pelleas said, Now tell me, Sir Adrasac, hast thou other captives besides that knight, Sir Brandemere, at thy castle? To which Sir Adrasac replied,
Sir Knight, I will tell thee truly, there are in my castle 21 other captives besides him, to wit, 18 knights and esquires of degree, and 3 ladies, for I have defended this bridge for a long time, and all who have undertaken to cross it, those who I have taken captive and held for ransom, wherefore I have taken great wealth and gained great estate thereby.
Then Sir Pelleas said, Thou art soothly a wicked and discourteous knight, so to serve travellers that come thy way, and I would do well for to slay thee where thou liest. But since thou hast besought mercy of me, I will grant it unto thee, though I will do so only with great shame unto thy knighthood. Moreover, if I spare to thee thy life, there are several things which thou must perform. First, thou must go unto Queen Guinevere at Camelot, and thou must say unto her that the knight who left her unarmed hath taken thine armour from thee, and hath armed himself therewith for to defend her honour. Secondly, thou must confess thy faults unto King Arthur, as thou hast confessed thee unto me, and thou must beg his pardon for the same, craving that him, in his mercy, shall spare thy life unto thee. These are the things that thou must perform. To this Sir Adrasac said,
Very well, these things do I promise to perform, if thou wilt spare my life.
Then Sir Pelleas permitted him to arise, and he came and stood before Sir Pelleas. And Sir Pelleas summoned the esquire Ponteferet unto him, and he said, Take thou this knight's armour from off of his body, and put it upon my body, as thou knowest how to do. And Ponteferet did as Sir Pelleas bade him, for he unarmed Sir Adrasac, and he clothed Sir Pelleas in Sir Adrasac's armour, and Sir Adrasack stood ashamed before them all. Then Sir Pelleas said unto him, Now take me into thy castle, that I may there liberate those captives that thou so wickedly holdest as prisoners. And Sir Adrasack said,
It shall be done, as thou dost command.
Thereupon they all went together unto the castle, and into the castle, which was an exceedingly stately place. And there they beheld a great many servants and attendants, and these came at the command of Sir Adrasack, and bowed themselves down before Sir Pelleas. Then Sir Pelleas bade Sir Adrasack for to summon the keeper of the dungeon, and Sir Adrasack did so. And Sir Pelleas commanded the keeper that he should conduct them unto the dungeon, and the keeper bowed down before him in obedience. Now when they had come to that dungeon, they beheld it to be a very lofty place, and exceedingly strong. And there they found Sir Brandemere, and those others of whom Sir Adrasack had spoken. But when that sorrowful lady perceived Sir Brandemere, she ran unto him with great voice of rejoicing, and embraced him, and wept over him. And he embraced her, and wept, and altogether forgot his hurt in the joy of beholding her again. And in the several apartments of that part of the castle, there were in all 18 knights and esquires, and 3 ladies besides Sir Brandemere. Moreover, amongst those knights were 2 from King Arthur's court, to wit, Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte. Whereupon these, beholding that it was Sir Pelleas who had liberated them, came to him, and embraced him with great joy, and kissed him upon either cheek. And all those who were liberated made great rejoicing, and gave Sir Pelleas such praise and acclaim that he was greatly contented therewith. Then, when Sir Pelleas beheld all those captives who were in the dungeon, he was very wroth with Sir Adrasack. Wherefore he turned unto him and said, Begone, Sir Knight, for to do that penance which I imposed upon thee to perform. For I am very greatly displeased with thee, and fear me lest I should repent me of my mercy to thee. Thereupon Sir Adrasack turned him away, and he immediately departed from that place. And he called to him his esquire, and took him and rode away to Camelot, for to do that penance which he had promised Sir Pelleas to do. Then, after he was gone, Sir Pelleas and those captives whom he had liberated went through the divers parts of the castle. And there they found 13 chests of gold and silver money, and 4 caskets of jewels, very fine and of great brilliancy, all of which treasure had been paid in ransom by those captives who had aforetime been violently held prisoner at that place. And Sir Pelleas ordained that all those chests and caskets should be opened, and when those who were there looked therein, the hearts of all were wonderfully exalted with joy at the sight of that great treasure. Then Sir Pelleas commanded that all that treasure of gold and silver should be divided into 19 equal parts. And when it had been so divided, he said, Now let each of you who have been held captive in this place take for his own 1 part of that treasure as a recompense for the sorrows which he hath endured. Moreover, to each of the ladies who had been held as captives in that place, he gave a casket of jewels, saying unto her, Take thou this casket of jewels as a recompense for that sorrow which thou hast suffered. And unto Sir Brandemere's lady he gave a casket of the jewels for that which she had endured. But then those who were there beheld that Sir Pelleas reserved no part of that great treasure for himself. They all cried out upon him, Sir Knight, how is this? Behold, thou hast set aside no part of that treasure for thyself. Then Sir Pelleas made reply, You are right, I have not so, for it needs not that I take any of this gold and silver, nor any of these jewels for myself. For behold, ye have suffered much at the hands of Sir Adrasack, wherefore ye should receive recompense thereof, but I have suffered naught at his hands, wherefore I need no such recompense. Then they were all astonished at his generosity, and gave him great praise for his largeness of heart. And all those knights vowed unto him fidelity unto death. Then, when all these things were accomplished, Sir Brandemere implored all who were there that they would come with him unto his castle, so that they might refresh themselves with a season of mirth and good faring. And they all said that they would go with him, and they did go. And at that castle of Sir Brandemere there was great rejoicing and feasting and jousting for 3 days. And all who were there loved Sir Pelleas with an astonishing love, because of that collar of emeralds and opals and of gold. Yet no one knew of the virtue of that collar, nor did Sir Pelleas know of it. So Sir Pelleas abided at that place for 3 days, and when the 4th day was come, he arose betimes in the morning, and bade saddle his horse, and the palfrey of the damsel Parcenet, and the horses of their pages. Then when all those who were there saw that he was minded to depart, they besought him not to go, but Sir Pelleas said, Stay me not, for I must go. Then came to him those 2 knights of Sir Arthur's court, Sir Brandiles and Sir Mador de la Porte, and they besought him that he would let them go with him upon that adventure. And at first Sir Pelleas forbade them, but they besought him the more, so that at the last he was fain to say, Ye shall go with me. So he departed from that place with his company, and all those who remained gave great sorrow that he had gone away. Hey, you want to buy something? You can check the description for my books and audiobooks. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.